already signed this online.
Did you?
I did. It's already here. Finally gonna go through because it kept sending me my spam.
Oh.
Even when I took it out of spam, she said they hadn't went back to spam.
We won't send it in. Yeah, this is great. Oops, did I?
I'll call to order today's Fishers Plan Unit Development Committee meeting for March 2nd, 2022. Right on time. Megan?
It is right on the dot.
Yeah. Whoop. You know, I had such a long way to come.
Right. A few steps. So we do have a quorum. But Kay, would you like to do a roll call for us?
Yes. Ms. Baumgartner.
Here.
Ms. Bowman.
Here.
Mr. Curran. Mr. Peterson. Here. Mr. Stevenson.
Here.
Thank you.
We do have a quorum to conduct tonight's meeting. The first matter on the agenda is PUD-21-26, Anytime Fitness at Geist Crossing, which was continued from last month's meeting. Seth Nykum with Roger Ward Engineering is requesting approval of the architecture and site design for a 1-lot, 3-unit commercial tenant development within the Southeast Fishers PUD. The property is generally located east of Oleo Road and north of 96th Street. And we have Mr. Jonah Butler for the staff to present.
Good afternoon, members of the PUD Committee. I am Jonah Butler, Planner 2, presenting on behalf of the City of Fishers. Before you is PUD 2126, a project reviewed by this committee in February. Sadly, I was sick and out of the office at that time, for which reason Ross Hillary, Assistant Director, presented on my behalf. The petitioner, Seth Nykum with Roger Ward Engineering, though I believe Tara Anker is here on behalf of Peterson Architecture. The scope of the project has not changed, but as a reminder, this project seeks approval from the committee of its since revised architectural elevations to permit the release of an ILP for the construction of a 3-tenant commercial development within the Southeast Fishers PUD. Again, the subject site is located north of the Geist, or is located in the Geist area, east of Oleo Road and north of 96th Street within the commercial subdivision of Geist Crossing. The subject site is less than 1 acre, situated between the Cooper Tire Store and Vision Wear at Geist Crossing developments. Both developments have been approved by this committee. Here again is the site plan as taken from the ILP currently under review. No changes have been made since the last presentation before this board. Again, this is the floor plan to which no changes have been made. The developments consist of 3 tenant spaces. The development consists of 3 tenant spaces with Anytime Fitness occupying the leftmost and largest space of approximately 6,000 square feet. To summarize last month's PUD committee meeting, this committee voted in favor of continuation. In that time, the committee sought for staff to work with the petitioner to address the concerns of the committee. Certain members of the committee felt there was a lack of architectural detail given to the rear facade. Certain members felt that a depiction of the staggered or stepped front facades of the tenant spaces was necessary, and certain members felt that the overall building form ought to be reconsidered. For reference, these are the 2D elevations presented before you last month. I'll give you a second to soak those in before moving on. Okay, I'm sure you're well soaked in now. Since the last meeting, Ross Hillary and I had a meeting with Tara Anker to discuss the feedback given by the committee in February. These suggestions were provided to the committee along with the staff report that you should all have possession of. This elevation shown now depicts the petitioner's revised submission. This elevation shows the staggered or stepped front facades as requested of the 3 tenant spaces, as well as the new inclusion of a large area of colored brick across the right side of the wall, across the right side wall of the structure. A depiction of the intended materials appears on the right side as well, and we have samples of those, and we will pass those out after my presentation. This slide depicts the proposed rear elevation of the structure. The arrows in red depict the new features added. Blue arrows depict already existing architectural features. New features such as a continued eave projection along the east wall above the added colored brick. Inset columns adjacent to each rear door and decorative adjacent window casings have been added. Existing features include the colored brick rear facade of the center office space, the decorative brick ledge along the perimeter of the structure, and the dark trim board across the parapet roof. A depiction of the intended materials has been added to the right side of this elevation as well. Staff feel the revised elevations adequately suffice the concerns of the committee from February's PUD committee meeting. Furthermore, this project reflects the intended development of the Southeast Fishers PUD. As such, staff suggests approval of PUD 2126. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from staff? If not, we will.
I just have a quick little something. Were you able to bring the materials
Yes.
today? Awesome. Thank you.
And we'll hear from the petitioner now.
This is for the roof only accessing for all of the peak roof points, locations only. So we've got the storefront, again, the sample for the black, and then the painted brick in certain locations. We don't have a brick sample of painted brick, but I brought some gray samples as well, and the EFS that we've added to add the architectural detail, and then the stack stone, natural stone that is shown around the perimeter of the building. Again, for the record, Tara Anker from Peterson Architecture representing here for the Anytime Fitness Project, and I will take any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I think first of all, I want to say thank you. I know, this is what we needed to see, and I appreciate it very much that you brought that to the table today. It really does make a difference. I mean, I think you acknowledged all of our kind of concerns for the most part. I think the only concern that maybe wasn't, and now that I see materials and the 3D, I feel like we're in a good place. So I'm good with.
Sean, any comments?
Kind of to reiterate, I appreciate you coming back and obviously working with staff on looking through the comments. I think it's, I definitely think it's an improvement over what we had looked at last month. One, I guess maybe question, not like a concern, but I would above would be the right-hand side where you've got the two steps, the two smaller tenant spaces. Mm-hmm. Above the awning canopy, is that just applied, kind of the gray with the darker gray band?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a small ridge. It doesn't extend beyond the building more than 4 inches,
Okay.
But it creates that shadow line.
Right, okay.
An additional three-dimensional element.
Yeah. My only, and I'm thinking tenant now. Mm-hmm. If I'm a tenant, how does that affect my signage on there? So I guess that would be the only
Our
concern
intended
there.
space for the signage was actually above in the white space.
Okay, as long as it's been addressed and accounted for space-wise. And we're not reviewing signage, so obviously that's not something for us to kind of, I just wanted to make sure that it was accounted for, that someone didn't have a sign that was halfway over it and that detracts away from the rest of the look of the building. Sure. But that's it.
Well, at this time, I would entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Curran,
Yes.
Ms. Bowman,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Let's see, staff communications.
Yes, we will have a presentation. It's just gonna give me 1 minute to pull it up.
Okay.
All right, hopefully this doesn't take too long. Don't want to keep you guys here any longer than you need to be, but last plan commission meeting, they adopted new rules and procedures, and this committee is a subcommittee of plan commission, and so I just want to give you guys an update and really go over some basic information that you likely already know, but just really want to touch base with you all. So again, you guys are a subcommittee of Plan Commission, along with Plat Committee, Nickel Plate Review Committee, and our Technical Advisory Committee. So your powers are coming from them, which is why their rules and procedures would apply to you all. Just to go over what your responsibilities are as a PUD committee. So there's really 3 types of items that will come before you. The first is just the review of architecture design and landscaping, and those are going to be for one-off buildings that are within PUD developments. So that's exactly what we just saw. That was a new building within an existing PUD ordinance. And you guys have the power to review architecture and landscaping in those cases. Another item that you might see is new PUD ordinances. So when reviewing PUD ordinances, you guys do have the ability to recommend conditions to council to place within that PUD ordinance. So that would be similar to what you saw a few months ago with the Cove at Thorpe Creek. That concept plan is shown here. You did review architectural elevations at that time. That was a Fisher's home development. But again, with that review, the concept plan was taken into consideration. So that's another type of item that you might see. And then third, within the PUD ordinances themselves, sometimes there are specific standards and powers given to the PUD committee. So this is taken from a recent text amendment to the High Line at Delaware Park. And so it gives the PUD committee, and you can see here in the first sentence, concept plans for areas A and B shall be reviewed and approved by both the mayor's designee, which is staff, and the PUD committee based upon the standards set forth in that PUD ordinance. So those are some one-off instances where you might see those types of proposals come before you as well. With the update to the Plan Commission rules and procedures, there's a new electronic participation policy that has been incorporated into that, and that is based on a new governor's or a new state statute that allows our boards and commissions to participate electronically. So I just want to go over some of those stipulations. So at least 50% of the members must be physically present for meetings. And I want to clarify, this is during non-emergency times. Members cannot participate in more than 2 meetings in a row electronically. So if you are, let's say you're on vacation one month and you're on vacation the next month, that 3rd month you'll need to be here in person for that meeting. And then you cannot participate in more than 50% of meetings in a calendar year electronically. So a majority of the meetings over a year's time will have to be in person. Taking action. So just wanted to go over what your options are when reviewing these proposals. So the first is you can approve as presented. So if you have no recommended changes, you could just go ahead and approve. The second is approve with conditions. So making recommendations, similar to what we saw with the Alderman Auto last time, it was approved on the condition of that public art feature. And then you can also make recommendations and continue. That's what we saw with this last item last month. You do have the ability to deny requests. This is rare in the PUD committee's instance. And really what that looks like is going to be dependent on what PUD that is located in. So I have not come across an item that the PUD committee has denied in my time at Fishers, but what that looks like and what the petitioner's options are after that point are really going to be dependent on what PUD that development is located in. So we'd have to handle that on a case-by-case basis. And then again, just as always, conflicts of interest. So if there is any petition where the board member cannot be unbiased, then they would need to recuse themselves from voting on that item. So again, that's a general presentation. Just wanted to touch base with you all. Any questions for me? All right. Well, thank you. That's all I got.